Hey, good morning. Here's Sean from Voices from the Dirt Road. Looks so good to see you today. Look forward to having a great conversation. We had a great show for you. A lot of things that's happened in the world of agriculture this week. But like I always do, um, I like to have my first cup of coffee with you. No, I'm not going to lie to you. This is already my second or third cup of coffee this morning. By 7 o'clock on a farm and on a farm, that's pretty late in the day. But glad to have a cup of coffee with you. With that, let me make sure that because we get new viewers every week, let me make sure that I actually kind of give you a background of what the show is all about. It's all about taking time out and speaking from the view of the rural community, speaking from the view of farmers, and we do that based on the stool. Can you put the stool up real quick, please? Yeah, when you look at this stool, the stool is based on basically four different pillows out there, and those pillows are very simple: livestock, row crop, forestry, and then the U.S. Agriculture Department. And then on top of it, it talks about the Farm Bill. Just real quickly, as y'all guys know, I'm on the livestock side of the house, raise cattle, but that could be any type of livestock across the board. That particular piece of the stool focuses on that. Then you have the row crop community. Those are guys that plant soybeans, peanuts, and whatever else. That is the row crop community. And that part of agriculture, as you know, has been struggling, um, trying to make sure that they can actually get a crop in the field, make sure that they have somewhere to sell their crop later on this year or next year, depending on how you want to look at it. And then on top of that, on the forestry side of the house, you know, here in Georgia, we just had two forest fires that were going on, two of the largest forest fires in the history of Georgia, and now those forest fires are under control, and the forestry department is on top of that. And then ultimately, all of these things are supported by USDA, the Agriculture Department, and as y'all guys know, under the Agriculture Department, we are working to try to get a farm bill done, because right now we're still working on a farm bill from 2018, and I'll have some updates later on in the show on exactly where the farm bill is at. And you know, don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I think it's going to be a while before we actually get a farm bill, or if we even get a farm bill during this session of Congress. Um, with that being said, let me just give you a quick little update of what's going on here on the farm. I always like to do that because you know, we always have some people to say, well, this guy's just talking, but he doesn't know anything about farming. And you know, every week on a farm is a great week. It's a blessing to be able to be a farmer. Every week you have some challenges. Every week you have some incredible things that also happen. And just so happened this week, my son was down from the university, and I guess he was out there with the cows, and this happened. Can we play that video, please? I don't think they saw the video. I think they heard it, they didn't see it. There we go. That guy right there is a Wagyu Black Angus steer that we're going to grow out and turn into steaks and hamburgers. And as we move forward, we are, as you know, we are cow calf operation, but we potentially may go to the farm to table, but a lot more goes into it than that. So, but I just thought that was just a cool little thing that happened this week, that when he was out there doing some filming, that particular steer just kind of walked up and kissed the camera there. So that's what makes it fun out here on the farm. That yes, behind the scenes you may have some struggles, but yes, behind the scenes it may be kind of tough, but there's also some things that happen that are totally unplanned, that if you just stop and say, you know what, it's pretty cool, it helps you get through the day and help you get through the week. All right, let's jump into really what's going on in the world of agriculture this week. As y'all guys know, we are still the United States, Georgia, is still in the middle of a drought. A couple of things have happened here in the last week or last time since I talked to you. And I want to just make sure that everybody is up to date on exactly what I would recommend. That's all I can say is recommend. I can't tell you what to do. Everybody runs their own farm. And I also want to give people that live in our cities an understanding of what happens behind the scenes. So with that, let me just talk about the drought. As you know, last week we said that yes, Georgia is in the middle of drought. Many of the parts of the United States is in a major drought. With that being said, that drought now has been started to be addressed. Just last week here on my own personal farm here in Georgia, I received my text from my FSA office. And Shelly, can you put that? Thank you, Shelly. I received my text from my FSA office telling me, "Hey, Sean, hey, your farm lives in a county in the great state of Georgia that that now fits into the drought program." What I wanted to do today is two parts. One, we actually put up this graphic so that after the show is over, if you want to take a screenshot of it and send it to your family members or send it to somebody, they actually have the information directly for themselves. And so you don't have to be kind of listening to me. But the gist of it is this. As farmers, first your farm needs to be registered. Okay. It needs to be registered with the FSA office. On top of that, being registered with the FSA office, I would encourage you either to call your local office. Most offices are in every county, or one office will handle 2 or 3 counties. Just so happen my office is in the Floyd County, which is right next door to us. But I would either ask you to give them a call or just stop by the office. And it takes you less than 5 minutes to fill out the paperwork. In my case, the drought is affecting our grass, which affects the amount of cows that I can actually grow on it. So I had to just fill out a nice little easy form saying how many cows I actually had at that particular time, how many calves I had at that particular time. And based off of that, they actually gave me a document that says, hey, based on that, you will receive some money to help you continue to keep your operation going. Now, let me just tell you off the top, it is not going to be a whole lot of money. And on top of that, they also going to let you know they can't exactly tell you when you're going to get the money. But what I'm recommending to you is at least go up there and sign up so that when the money comes, you're actually on the side of actually receiving some. I will tell you, the money that I'm receiving is not a lot of money, but in the world of farming, every little bit helps. And the amount of money I will be receiving whenever it comes will actually be enough money to pay for all of my seed. So when I have to reseed my pastures next year. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And I would just recommend to all the farmers out there to at least check, because what I don't want to see happen is we continue to get in a more of a drought situation, more extreme. Now you got to sell your cattle. Now you got to sell your livestock. Now you can't plant your crops. You can't do all these kind of things. And you never actually went and signed up. And now you don't have a way to get back on your feet starting next year or the year after. So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there. But the key from this piece that I'm talking right now, just take the time today to call up to your FSA office or stop by and say, hey, Sean mentioned something on the Voices from the Dirt Road this morning. Did I miss something? Did I miss a text? What do I need to do? And kind of get your farm listed and kind of go from there. So that's it. Nothing big, nothing hard. But right now, I think this week, at least in the part of Georgia that I'm in Northwest Georgia, and now it looks like we potentially going to get some rain next Wednesday, Thursday. That's only about 30% at this moment. So that simply means somebody else may get some rain and you're not getting anything. So I just kind of put that out there, ask you to follow up with them today. And the other thing I want to make sure that you're aware, because so many people have been cut from the Doge experience that we went through earlier this year, their staffs now are a lot smaller. So please, farmers, I know we're super busy. A lot of us are cutting hay right now. A lot of us are doing a whole lot of things, but don't wait to the last minute to go up there, because I would hate that all of us show up on the very last day, whatever that last day is to sign up. I don't have that information, but whatever that last day, then all of us get up there and now they can't handle the load. So please take time, call today, get an appointment, or just call and say, hey, can I stop by? I will promise you it will take you less than 10 minutes to fill out the paperwork and be done with it. And to let many of y'all guys know, it's the same paperwork that we filled out last year. And so, as you know, it's like 2 or 3 questions and you're done, and you kind of keep on moving. So just want to pass that on to you because it's very important, because right now we are in a drought that is very early. This is a very strange situation that we're in. We're in a drought that's very early, and we know when we start getting down into June and July, that's when things are going to get real tough if we don't already have rain. All right, let's move on to another big topic that everybody's been watching. I see, is there anything stopping foreign countries from buying? Yes. Right now, thank you for that question. Appreciate it. I will actually, Shelly, when I get to the part where I'm talking about China, please put that question back up, and I'll tie that question into my answer when I'm talking about an update on where we are with China with the president's visit. Okay. But the next thing I just want to move to is talking about the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill, I think I said it last week, but I'll do it again. The Farm Bill has now left the House and went over to the Senate. It is currently over in the Senate. And again, just like we did before, I wanted us to put something together so that if you needed to take a screenshot of it, you actually had all the information so you can have for yourself and be easy to track it. Because I know sometimes when I'm talking about certain things, but if you're not truly understanding all the processes, you may not understand it. So what we try to do is put together a farm update so you can screenshot this, you can send it to your friends, you can pass it on. But this is currently what's going on with the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill, like I said, has left the House and went over to the Senate. It is now inside the Senate, inside of the Agriculture Committee, inside over in the Senate side of the House. But it looks as if the Senate is going to completely change a lot of things inside of the Farm Bill that was sent over from the House. That simply means that when it's all said and done, that version of the Farm Bill that's coming from the Senate would then have to go back to the House. The House will either vote on it or make some more changes, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The reason why I bring this to your attention is because I do not see the Farm Bill actually making any major movements here in the next 10 to 15 days. I would even tell you that I think it's going to be very tough for this Farm Bill to get out of Congress this legislative session, because as you know, every day we getting closer and closer to election. And on top of that, many of our representatives and congressmen are actually, and women are actually at home and on the campaign trail. So this Farm Bill, I hope and pray that it actually gets out, but I think this Farm Bill is probably going to be in a situation where it falls short because they just run out of time. And hopefully after this November, we'll get it done. But it is some movement. Right now, the two parts of Congress are not seeing eye to eye on the Farm Bill. I know I mentioned to you some last week of some things in there that the House put in that I don't think the Senate was going to support, and that seems like it's playing out that particular way. So again, I think that's a very good slide for you to have. That clearly shows you the next steps to everything, but I would just preference out there for you that I think it's going to be a struggle to get the farm bill across the finish line before November. But we'll see. And I really hope they do, because we truly need it. Because as you remember, the way our stool is set up, that farm bill is at the top that oversees everything. And right now we are still working off the farm bill of 2018, and with some things in the big beautiful bill. But because all those things are disjointed, it's just not working that smooth. So a lot more work to come. I think today the Congress is playing baseball, or they had a baseball game early this morning. So I'm glad they had a baseball game, but I hope they're going to get in the office and start working on this farm bill and get it done before they get on the plane and come back home for another weekend. All right, so that's your update on the farm bill. Let's move into one other, two more things. But both of these things are affecting us directly here on the farm. And this is area I'm talking about is fertilizer. I wanted everybody to truly understand, when we say fertilizer, how does this actually affect the farmer? And when I say the farmer, I'm talking about the guy that's doing row crop and the people doing cattle and everything else. Hey, you name it. We're all tied back to fertilizer. Like I just mentioned, with the drought, if I don't have the rain, if I don't have the fertilizer, my grass is not going to grow. I can't raise the cows. It's just a do loop. So in this particular case here, can you put up the image for the fertilizer so I can just kind of let people know what we mean by that, please? Okay, and this is not a science project or a chemistry project. I just want everybody to understand that when you hear us say fertilizer, we're actually talking about three different things. I won't get into the weeds too deep on it, but at the end of the day, what is very significant about these chemical agents is this: most of these chemical agents come from China. And that's how what's actually happening in China is having great effect on us and having great effect on the price when it comes to the cost of fertilizer, because we actually have part of the products of the chemical products here in the United States, but the other pieces of those products that I have there on the screen actually comes from China and other places. And some of those places actually has to come through the Strait of Hormuz. Hence, nothing's coming through the Strait of Hormuz. That means supply and demand is an issue. That means fertilizer cost is completely out the roof. And that's how it's affecting our farmers across the board. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody clearly understood that piece of it. And let's just go to the second image, please. All right, the second image here is just to kind of give you a better understanding, because as you know, the president was as of yesterday was in China. He just left early this morning, and I'll talk more about that later. But at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that I had something that, again, that you could screenshot so that you can better understand China's role when it comes to fertilizer and how it affects the farmers. So at the end of the day, like I kind of already said, is the natural resources are there in China, and then it gets here, and from there we put the fertilizer together. But however, if any of those things are not making it through the supply system, then guess what? The farmer does not have what they need, or if they have it, it got to pay a higher cost because of supply and demand. And then all the way across the board, if you don't actually put the fertilizer out there where your crops actually make it, especially crops like corn, soybeans, and peanuts that need nitrogen, will those things actually happen? Will we actually have a good crop next year? And then on top of all that, we already having the drought. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it is a lot of things that are affecting farmers right now on the ground. We hope that the president, after this visit, got some trade deals put together, or actually got China's support to help us get the Strait of Hormuz back open, so that we can actually get some of these goods coming back into the United States and supporting our farmers. But again, just real quick, I wanted to make sure that we explain that to you, because I think I said on a different show earlier this week when I was speaking in my capacity as retired General Harris, talking about the war. I actually said on that particular broadcast that I believe that this war that we're in will go on for another 3 to 6 months. And I hope that I'm wrong, but if I'm right, hopefully the president's visit that he just did to China will ease some things, and we can actually start getting some of these things through the Strait of Hormuz and open commerce back up. But if not, it's going to be very, very painful for the next 3 to 6 months, because as y'all guys already know, that's also affecting fuel costs, specifically not only gas, but diesel, fertilizer. All of those things are being affected by what's actually happening over in the Middle East right now. All right, let's move on very quickly, because I don't want to hold y'all guys too long this morning. Let's move very quickly to the president's visit to China. I think everybody's tracking that the president flew to China. Today is Friday, so he should have left out of here Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. It was a 2-day summit or a 2-day meeting between two of the most powerful leaders on the face of the earth. And in addition to that, Shelly, would you just go on and put those pictures up while I kind of just talk through it, please? President went there. I think the president has invited the president of China to the United States in September, October timeframe. We'll get more on that. But what I do want to bring to your attention is that the president took a delegation over to China with him. Most of that delegation was corporate America. Most of that delegation was dealing with chips that helps our computer industry or AI industry. Nothing's wrong with that. But one of the things I do want to bring out to your attention is that caught my attention is that I know one of the major things that he wanted to get done was to lock in a buyer, with China being a buyer again for soybeans. But Secretary Rollins was not on the trip. That piece surprised me. I know it's some quotes out there, but I think it's a little early to figure out what we got or what we didn't get, because with my experience of being in the military, I don't think we're going to get an official readout of what actually occurred over there until the president gets completely out of China's airspace. They actually just left a in-flight back here to the United States now. I think China is 13, 14, maybe 15 hours in front of us. So I'm fully expecting the president to land back here in the United States sometime this afternoon or late on tonight. And I think by that time we'll start getting some more readouts of actually what was accomplished. But the overall ask when we went to China was to say, hey, China, can you help us with the Iranians and get the Strait of Hormuz back open? Because the Chinese does have a good relationship with the Iranians. That's where China gets majority of their oil. So it's in China's interest also for the street to be opened back up, but it's also in the interest of the world. The question is China going to help us with that? And then on the flip side of the coin, the other piece that affects us in this lane that we're talking about here on Voices from the Dirt Road is, did China agree to buy more soybeans? And if they did agree to buy more soybeans, do we have that in writing? And then, as we all know, China, even though if we have it in writing, are they actually going to follow through with it? Because I know our farmers that's on the row crop side of the house right now, dealing with the drought, dealing with everything else that they're dealing with, they also dealing with the thought process of, hey, when I plant this crop, if everything turns out great, will I be able to sell it somewhere? And that is the lone pole in the tent. what I think I should also make y'all guys aware, and I'll let you go and research it for yourself. And Shelly, please put that question back up so I don't forget. We gave Argentina a major buyout, and I'm going to leave that question up there so I don't forget. But we gave Argentina a major buyout earlier this year on beef. One of the things that Argentina actually did that I don't think is too cool, that we at least need to make everybody aware of, Argentina then turned back around and dropped the taxes on their soybeans and then sold their soybeans to China. So right now, China is getting soybeans from Argentina, the same Argentina that we gave a bailout to. The question is China going to stop buying Argentina soybeans and come back and start buying our soybeans? So I think that's something that we need to kind of follow as this thing plays out. And like I said, we should get a and agriculture side of the house. Now, to my question here, is there anything to stop foreign countries from buying farmland? Toughen good numbers. Yes. The question there is there anything that we can do to keep foreign countries from buying farmland? The question to that is yes. However, many times when people are buying land, the question could come into play. The person that you're sitting with across the desk from you, is that the real person buying the land, or is he buying it for some other industry or some other company or whatever? I am concerned that as we put pen to paper, we have to be real particular, because one of the things that the president was supposed to be negotiating out is China wants to actually bring manufacturing right here to the United States and start building certain things here in the United States. I'm not sure how that piece played out as of yet. We got to get the readout. But the other piece of that is this. If they do that, where are they buying the land? Where's these things going to be built, and who's going to be working there, and how are we going to protect ourselves? Because China is one of our number one enemies out there. So they're our friend, but at the same time, they're our enemy. So to answer your question, yes, Congress needs to put more things in place. On top of that, the state of Georgia and other states need to put more things in place to ensure that foreign countries don't come in. But I would tell you, excuse me, the piece that concerns me is right now farmers are losing their land left and right completely, going bankrupt, losing their land. Other farmers, young farmers, don't have enough money to jump in and buy it. Other farmers like myself don't have ready cash that you can just come in and jump in and say, okay, I'm going to buy another 200, 300, 400 acres. The question is corporate America going to come in, or data centers going to come in and buy up all that land, and then not turns into data centers, it turns into everything else other than farmland. So it's a lot of pieces that's part of that. Yes, you're right. We need to keep our eyeballs on our foreign counterparts, but we also need to keep our eyeballs on corporate America, because I'm concerned that corporate America, data centers, and all these things that are popping up all over the United States is going to start buying up a lot of farmland. And after they actually build a data center, start with all the electricity and the water rights, I think we may actually put ourselves in a situation that if we don't actually think through it, we may be cutting our nose off when it comes to being able to feed ourselves as Americans. So I know it's a lot packed into that. Some of those things that I just talked about, we're going to do a full-blown special on a 1-hour show at some point where we actually talk about those things. We're just trying to get it set up behind the scenes. But yes, the foreign country piece is out there. But I also, what keeps me up at night is that with the amount of data centers that are being put out there, where are they going? And then how is that going to affect our farmers, especially when it comes to water because that data center is going to drink up a lot of water as it moves forward. So it's completely different who's paying for it. The question is it enough water to support the farmers versus support the data center that is going up? So thank you for that question. I look forward to many more questions. And like I mentioned earlier, the president now is on the way back. We should start getting a readout here very soon. I imagine in the next couple of hours it'll be all over the news. But I would encourage all of us to not just listen to the news, but actually look at the paperwork. What we will do for next week's show, we will actually get the readout, get the data that talks about what was agreed to when it comes to the farmers, and cut through all the other minutia, but what was actually agreed to for the farmers, so that we can have a better idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And is it anything else tied to those things for the farmer? Is it tied to something else that if this doesn't happen, this will not happen? So lot to unpack. Farming now has turned into an international business. And the farmer that's on his or her little 40-acre farm is 100% part of our international strategy, part of our solving the United States, and part of everything that we're actually doing now at the highest level. So with that, I'm glad to see that the president went there. I'm glad to see that they got in there, got out safe. I'm glad to see that it looked like to be some good discussions. We'll see what was actually accomplished. But I will tell you, I was a little disappointed. That Secretary Rollins did not make the cut to be on the plane. And if agriculture was at the top of the list, seemed like to me the person that represents us in the world of agriculture should have been on the plane. I understand others could be on there, could be talking for us, but as my experience of working for our government, if your area is at the top of the list, then you are with the president of the United States, and you are sitting at the table, because when you're over there, it's like all kind of extra meetings that are currently going on at the same time when the president's having this meeting. And I'm just concerned who was in the meeting talking about agriculture that actually know agriculture. And when I looked at that group of people that went, most of them were corporate America. Most of them were focused more on AI and chips versus soybeans and fertilizer and all those kind of things. But I have faith in our government, and we're going to see what comes out of this thing here in the next 24, 48 hours. With that, I know it's kind of been a little bit of a long show. Well, really not that long. It's really 33 minutes right now. It feels like I've been talking forever, but we did not want to play a whole bunch of videos today. We wanted to give you some information that you could screenshot, share with your friends, share with others. That's very easy for them to understand where's the farm bill, what's going on overseas, and currently where we're at. But with all those things, I like to end the show the same way I do every week. As you know, our farmers are struggling. Like I already mentioned, we're in the middle of a drought. I already mentioned that you need to go up there to the FSA office. But I also mentioned that people are just struggling, just trying to make ends meet, no matter how you cut it. Fuel costs is high, diesel prices are high, you name it. Everyday hardworking people are feeling the pressure now. Nobody has to tell you that the economy is tough. So I just want to say to every last one of our farmers, if you're struggling today, hey, just call this number 988. Somebody will actually answer the phone, help you, and that's 24 hours a day. And I also say to family members, if you know that your fellow farmer is struggling, hey, call the number for him or her, have them have the conversation, because we all know in the rural community, we have a mental health we have a mental health desert. There's nobody really there to help. So with that, I just want to make sure that you have a outlet that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that somebody's going to answer the phone and help you just get to the next day. Our farmers are so important to us that we need to make sure, even on the worst day or the toughest day they having out there on the farm, because every day is not, every day out here on the farm, you don't have a calf licking the camera. I want to just make sure everybody understand that every day is not that. So on those toughest days when you really can't see how ends are going to meet, just pick up that number 988, call. Those guys will help you get through it. And then the sun will come back up the next day because it's going to be okay. So with that, I think it's been a very informative conversation that we had this morning. I think I addressed all of the questions. I see people telling me good morning. So good morning to every last one of you. If you live here in my hometown and you see me this morning at Tractor Supply, say hi. Or if you just see me around town in Rome or whatever, stop me, say hi. Because that's what it's all about. Farmers helping farmers, just having an everyday conversation and kind of going from there. So, hey, it's going to be hot today. I know a lot of y'all out there cutting hay or baling hay today. Drink some water, man. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of your families. And guess what? Have a great day. The cup is empty. See you next week.